Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Artist Series with Allan Sanders. And today, I get to talk to my good friend Daniel Day. Welcome, Daniel. Glad to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here, Allan.
Yeah. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and who knows how this is going to go. This is the first one I've done, so it's going to be great, though. So, kind of tell everybody about who you are and where you're from, maybe what you're doing right now.
All right, I'm a chiropractor by trade. I grew up in a small town north of Seattle. The town was Stanwood, Washington. And funny note, I met somebody here I live in Oklahoma now, and I met somebody in Grove that had graduated from the same tiny high school that I did, Stanwood High School in Washington State. So anyway, I moved here to Oklahoma when I was 40, about
2008 or
2007, yeah.
7 maybe?
Actually, the end of '06. So.
Oh, was it really? Huh.
So I've been here. I'm now an Oklahoman.
Because I didn't meet you until probably 2007 or 8, I'd say.
Right, about there.
Something like that.
Yes. So anyway, what was the question?
Yeah, so you came from Stanwood and...
and so now I practice here in Veneta, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. Now, how did you get from Stanwood to Veneta?
Well, if you remember, about 2008 was the real estate boom bust time. Well, so right before that, in our little town, the real estate prices and home prices, I had graduated from college maybe, 5 to 10 years before that. Actually, it was, about 10 or 12 years before that. So I was looking to maybe buy a home, but I couldn't afford it because the prices kept going higher and higher and higher and higher. So it was a little depressing. We were off. We got the offer. My mother-in-law has since passed away, but she called and offered for us to purchase her home and move to Veneta, and she would give us a good deal, and she did. So we decided to go ahead and do that, and that meant uprooting my children. My oldest was just a freshman in high school.
So you have how many kids?
I have 4 children.
4 children.
And so it went from a freshman in high school, and then middle school and elementary.
Down. They kind of all. Yeah, they were
so
a little bit spread out.
They were dumped into a whole new area of the country and a whole different situation for schooling, and I kind of felt bad for them, but they all fit in really well. And in fact, I worked with you a little bit on some of the music department stuff. I remember the first few times I played with you kind of was a school activity or something connected with the school, like that art thing.
Mm-hmm. I actually had to talk you into playing with me.
Right.
Maybe within the first year or so, because you're like, I don't know if I should or not. Which I don't blame it, because I was probably 14.
Well, yes, but
that.
I when I performed, it was always with the guitar.
Right.
But I played.
So you did some stuff with the choir because your kids were in it.
Oh yeah. My kids were all involved in all this music, so it was an easy thing. Once I started doing a couple things with you, you were very gracious to me. You knew that I could play the chop chords pretty good on the mandolin, which that's basically all I could do, because I didn't. It was a second instrument for me that because there were too many guitar players in the band that I was in Washington, they said, "Hey, you do the mandolin." Mm-hmm. So I felt inadequate.
But you did pretty well.
So I just kept playing and stuff, and so after a while, maybe 2 or 3 years, you already had a band, kind of. And you decided to go ahead and do it more. At which point you asked if I would help you out, and it was a blessing to do that. I was. It helped me to learn a lot, to play a lot better, and I just enjoyed that opportunity a lot.
Yeah, that was some good times.
That was some good times.
Good times.
Our first recording projects. Now I'm recording with Day Brothers. My brothers have gone through a similar path as me. We came to it. The picking was something we did after. We've been singing our whole lives.
Mm-hmm. So tell me kind of about that as well. Like, you grew up playing, and how did you? Yeah. Well, how did you get started, and how did your brothers kind of get into it?
We all loved. Our family was musical, so I was any music thing that was there, choirs. If there was something to audition for, like in the school I came from, the jazz ensemble was an a cappella jazz ensemble. It wasn't it was 4 or more parts, but there was maybe 12 people in it. So you might have 2 people per part, or it could have been. It was all kinds of stuff. But you couldn't just get in. You couldn't just say, "I want to." You
had to audition for it. And
yeah. Well, anytime that happened, I was all in on that because I knew that the product was going to be good. But as far as singing, the first time that I really, we've enjoyed singing all the time. I'm talking about all of my siblings. I'm one of 5. And we learned to sing sitting in church and trying to sing parts, because Dad would always sing some other part. If he wasn't leading the music, he'd be trying to sing by ear some other part. It usually was a tenor or a high baritone, something like that, some hybrid part. But so then we'd all try to fit in somehow and learn parts. So we were real strong with just singing by ear. And then as we kept getting trained, like in different things, we each took piano lessons for at least a few years. And the ones that took it longer can still play well. I took it, but then I kind of cheated. I would memorize how the song sounded, and then I would just quit reading it, and I would just do it that way.
Just do it by ear?
Yeah, I did it by ear.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that I was cheating myself out of something.
Right.
I wasn't cheating anyone but myself.
Yeah.
Because it would have been better as I got older and started doing that jazz ensemble and some better choirs. We were sight reading music, especially like when I got to college, and we were in the singing groups that were audition only. By the time you're there, they don't really suffer. You've got to deliver.
You got to know.
Yeah, you've got to deliver. So I learned to read it quicker. More, So it was good discipline for me.
Yeah.
I needed the discipline. We always loved to sing. And so with my brothers, after a few things happened, well, another little side note, all through this time, my brother and I, my younger brother and I, we used to do shows where we would do a duet with John playing the piano, and we had loads of songs.
And those were songs that you wrote?
Oh, yeah. He wrote most of them, but I wrote some of them.
They probably weren't all bluegrass.
No, they were. None of them were bluegrass.
Yeah. So there you go.
I mean, we've turned a few.
Well, maybe they were. Maybe they weren't at first.
We didn't even know what bluegrass was.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It was all that stuff was all piano centric, except for a few that I wrote at college and in Israel, because I had a college trip to Israel, and the only thing there was a guitar. So all of the songs I wrote in Israel were written on a guitar. That song that we recorded. People say love your neighbors and hate your enemy. That song.
Oh, right. That's going to come out here pretty soon.
I wrote that on a guitar, even though that was in Portland. That was where I lived at the time that I wrote that.
Yeah.
So, and John helped me write that. So then we were able to we could play it or perform it either with a piano or with a guitar.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you guys did quite a bit of that type of stuff.
Yeah, we did. We did quite a bit, John and I. But then John went off to seminary in Dallas, and I stayed in the Northwest, went to chiropractic school in Portland.
Now you have something you also have a similar, like a theology.
I have a Bachelor of Theology.
Okay, I thought
I
so.
went to the Multnomah University, Multnomah School of the Bible, as it was known back then, in Portland, and got my Bachelor of Theology. And I'll just say this: it was a blessing because I went 1 year, and then went to get some pre-Chiro stuff. In the meantime, my younger brother, who was a year behind me in school, went to his first year. And I had a time in there that I thought, when he was there, I was thinking to myself, I think I need to go back and finish Bible school. And so I basically dropped what I was doing. I was half of the way through pre-chiropractic, and went ahead and went back and joined John, so that we were going through the same time period at Bible school, and we went through that time. I met my wife. There's all kinds of stuff that happened during that time, and John and I lived together, and also my older brother was a chiropractor and practicing in Portland at the same time.
So you were kind of the mixed child.
And we were leading music. Well, John and I were, I was the song leader, and John was a pianist.
Yeah.
At a church.
Yeah.
And we did that for 2 or 3 years while we were there at one church, and my brother was leading music in another church. And so we kept ourselves busy and in the music, and we wrote lots of songs while we were there, a few of which were done as projects for, putting scripture memorization. Like Psalm 13, we wrote a song. It had 6 verses. We had to memorize 6 verses for something, and we put it to song, and it was always my dad's favorite song that we did. He would request it, and that was on the piano. I wouldn't mind someday either recording it with piano or trying to do it with stringed instruments, other stringed instruments. Mm-hmm. So let's see. So I met my wife there, and she's actually contributed lyrics to at least 2 songs. I'm trying to think that we have recorded. Icebox Soup and Lover's Lane. Those for sure, and she may have contributed some others that I'm not remembering. So we were married in 89, which makes us married 31 years.
Man, that takes a lot of work.
Yeah. But you know what? It's great. Yeah. And all of our kids are following the Lord. My 2 daughters are married to Christian men and live in Kansas City area. And my older son is in Tulsa area, and he works at the airport. And my youngest son is here in Veneta, working at the Junction, which is an internet provider type thing.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's good. So you've been here for quite a while now, and you've kind of found your way around the music scene around here. So what are you doing right now, just as you're out and about playing music, and who are you playing with? Kind of what are some things that you're doing?
I play with a group of people in Grove that came out of a jam that I go to there. So I will book things where people come and talk to me about booking something, and I usually have people that I'm in contact with that I choose to help me to do that gig,
do certain things,
and the same is true. I'm doing a gig with the priest that I play with frequently from Grove.
So there's quite a few people from Grove that you play with.
Yeah.
And then,
well, I also build guitars with a guy from Grove.
Right. Let's talk about that.
And he's one of my better friends.
Yeah. You've been building guitars for how many years now?
Um, well, when I first moved to Oklahoma, I couldn't just start practicing chiropractic. I had to get a license. In order to get a license, when you go from a state that you're licensed in to a state you're not licensed in, you have to do whatever they want.
You take a test, probably.
I had to take the jurisprudence test, which is the laws, because the state laws are different in each state.
Yeah.
So I took that, but they only offered it twice a year. So I had some time before the next test, and so because I didn't have my license, I decided, hey, I'll look around, see what kind of adult education, um, and I just happened to notice that there was a guitar building class, and I didn't know anything about the teacher or anything, but come to find out, he offered the class the way that I took it. He offered it 3 years. The first year, I didn't know about it, and I was just moving here anyway. Second year, I took it, barely got in, because somebody dropped out. I was able to get in like 2 or 3 weeks late, and this walnut guitar is the guitar out of that class. And the guy that taught it is a luthier that lives about 20 miles north of here in Welch, and he's been a good friend over the years. His name's Larry Randolph, and so I built that guitar, and then because after taking that, I also met a friend of mine, Allan Shelton, and we decided that both of us wanted to take the class again and build a cutaway, which is more. There's more risk.
Right.
There's a few technical.
Is that the cutaway you made?
Yeah,
so show them. Yeah, show them the cutaway that you made.
So this is a master grade koa. See all the flaming?
I love that. Yeah,
Hawaiian
I love
koa
that wood.
and the sides, and then here's the cutaway. So this was, and it's got wood binding. It's got a bear claw spruce top, and wood binding on the sides here, ebony.
Yeah.
It's neat to be able to play something that you built. And I'm still building. We're just finishing up a small parlor and then a regular dreadnought. I'm doing a small parlor and a dreadnought this time. That should be done. It's already sprayed and everything. We just need to do setup and bridge
There you go.
on those two. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So you've built probably 3 or 4 by now?
No.
Or
It's probably,
has it been
if you
more than
count
that?
those two, it's got to be about 10.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen all 10, I don't think.
Well, remember the one I gave to Daniel that you said you
Oh,
liked the sound of?
That's right.
It
Because
had the sinker redwood
you built
top.
one for each one of your
Yeah, I just
son-in-laws. Is that correct?
I suspect that David Eisenhower is going to want this one because he always has liked it, but I didn't want to give it to him yet because I still want to play it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I gave it to them for a while as far as like because he needed a guitar for it. But then he bought a few guitars. He doesn't need it for need's sake. But that would be, I was saying for each of my children,
Oh, okay.
but I consider the son-in-laws and I want them to really be able to pick. But I've given 2 of them away. The first one was the wedding of my oldest daughter, so I gave them a nice East Indian rosewood dreadnought, kind of like a Martin D28, but it had, instead of plastic binding, it had flame maple binding and a nice guitar. I liked that guitar. And then I gave Daniel the sinker redwood topped guitar. And I didn't bring it, but there's the guitar that I played on stage. I'm thinking of that one maybe for Noah, because he plays still. He plays he leads music or plays guitar down here at the Vineyard Church.
Mm-hmm.
Or that way?
That way.
That way. So I'm thinking maybe he'd want that one. But you know what? I don't care if they don't, if they want to choose. If they like one of the newer ones, that's fine too.
There you go.
Especially the older I get, it won't matter to me.
Yeah.
I really love playing that very first one.
Yeah.
And I've considered putting a lyric inside of it, so I'd just play it. It could easily be a stage guitar. It was for a while while we were just...
You played it with us for a while. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's get it out and let's play a song.
Okay.
And also, why don't you tell them about
this
song that you wrote? This is one that you wrote.
Yeah. This is a song I wrote because I was here. While I was here, I moved. My dad was very ill. He had heart. There was a heart valve issue where it was regurgitating, so it wasn't strong. He had to have surgery, and the medicine that they put him on for that surgery, for the heart, contributed to him having a stroke. The stroke was debilitating, and so I had to stay in my parents' house with my family. My kids were all tiny little ones. But in a way, it was a blessing because my little children had Grandma and Grandpa there and had to kind of help take care of, their grandpa. Yeah, my dad. We all took care of Dad. We all had to have jobs and things. And he had to have 24/7 care. So I was the night guy. And our family took the upstairs, and Mom and Dad were downstairs. And anyway, after Mom was able to retire, we didn't need to be there, and that's when we could move here. So all that was happening. My dad passed away in 2011, I believe, and so that would have been 4 years after I moved here. And then a year or two after that, I didn't write this song. This song, though, was the first time that I put anything in song after my dad died. In fact, I didn't write any songs in that.
For a while.
Yeah, in that period. I wrote this song because the preacher at my church I did a lot of special music there, and he wanted a Father's Day song. So I was looking up Father's Day songs, and there just aren't as many as Mother's Day songs.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know if I know any Mother's Day songs either.
So then, when I was thinking about that, I just thought, man, I haven't...
The only thing I could think of is something weird like Daddy's Hands or something.
Well, I looked up that.
That's about the only one I could think of.
Daddy's Hands. I've learned that song and sung it on a different...
Some other country songs.
But I think I'd already sung that one, at a previous Father's Day or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I started to just think about the things that I appreciated about Dad that maybe I didn't know that I appreciated about him. So as I was... It really took me maybe 10 minutes to write this song, if that. I just was sitting down. It was really easy. It just started to come. And I wrote it, and then I think if my memory serves me, I think my mother was there the first time on that Father's Day. I think she had flown out to visit.
Was that...
David told me that when we were sitting out there. I had forgotten about that. David and John were just here, and we were just recording some Day Brothers stuff. Mm-hmm. And he's probably right, because I think she heard the first time that I sang it in public at the church. So... This song is about not just Dad, not really teaching us to sing, even though that's what it is, but it's teaching us the passion of singing or the joy of singing. He had that in spades. Mm-hmm. And just sitting next to him, you wanted to sing.
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy he was. And that's really what this song's about.
So this is Teaching Me to Sing.
It's called Teaching Me to Sing. When I was young, we'd go to church each Sunday, week by week. I would sit right next to Dad as we sang those good old songs. Heard and saw the joy Dad had singing to the Lord. Oh, thank you, Dad, for loving me and teaching me to sing. Taught me how to sing a part, though you could not read a note. But you loved the songs and you loved the Lord, so I just sang along. There were times when things were pretty rough, but you still sang those songs. Thank you, Dad, for loving me and teaching me to sing. We'd be singing songs while we worked and even while we played. I still hear your whistle in the halls now and then. I know that you are singing now up in your heavenly home. Thank you, Dad, for loving me and teaching me to sing. Taught me how to sing a part, though you could not read a note. But you loved the songs and you loved the Lord, so I just sang along. There were times when things were pretty rough, but you still sang those songs. Thank you, Dad, for loving me and teaching me to sing. Oh, thank you, Dad, for loving me and teaching me to sing.
Yeah, that's killer. That's killer.
Thanks.
It's good. Well, you can find some of Dan's music on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, all that good stuff. Look him up. He's with the Day Brothers. That's him and his brothers who play together. And actually, you have a couple albums coming out in the next month or so.
Yeah.
So be looking for those online. And thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you soon.